Hello, Denise. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you today?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here. Not lovely to meet you too.
Great,
Thanks for
great.
having me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm very thankful that you volunteered for this and I get to know you a little bit more and where you're coming from within your Reiki journey. So thank you so much. So,
Mhm.
first off, how did you start out your Reiki journey?
Well, I was very young and I was already healing. And even though I had not believed in anything like that before, I just didn't have that knowledge of Reiki or of healing even. And I was at university at the time and studying history and politics. And I went round to my grandma's house and I used to sit with her quite a lot and we used to chat and have tea. And then I looked at her and I thought, she doesn't look right today. And her cheek was sort of quite swollen. And I thought, no, it looks out here, and I was a late teen at the time. And I said to her, do you want me to take you to the doctor? Can I call the doctor? And she said, no. And I could see she was in pain and she was wincing. So I was sitting just chatting and I heard a voice say to me, go and heal your grandma. So I sort of sat up and I thought, was that a voice or was that me? Am I getting sick? And it said it again, and it was quite a loud sort of man's voice, and I thought it sounded like my great grandpa, who I knew up until around 15 when he passed away, and he was a lovely grandpa. He was her father, and so I just had this feeling in my hand. I had to get up, and I had never experienced this before. And I said to her, "Can I heal your cheek?" And I thought, what am I saying? My hand was sort of moving itself. I had this heat in my hand, and she said, "Yeah, why not?" She said, "My father used to do that." And, that's the voice I'd heard. So I just thought, oh, this is really strange. So I went up to her, I put my hand on her cheek, and that's when the healing sort of happened. And I thought to myself, the only person I've ever heard of that healed was someone like Jesus. And, I wasn't really into any sort of religion, although I am Jewish. And I felt like something had happened. I felt like something had happened to her cheek, and she said later on that the pain had subsided and it had gone down.
Oh,
So, yeah, so this was the beginning, and then I would heal anyone who would listen. And I went to a crystal shop and I saw a Reiki healing sheet. So I said to the guy behind the counter, I said, what's the difference between the healing I'm doing and Reiki? So he said, well, Reiki is like healing on steroids. So I said, okay, I'll do the course. That sounds really interesting. And I was a little bit nervous, but I went to the course. I did Reiki 1. I had this lovely weekend. And again, I had this horrible cold. I've got a slight cold now. And she said, don't drink alcohol whilst you're doing this course. And I thought, oh no, I'm going out tonight. It's actually a wedding evening on the Saturday night.
sure.
Um, and I just thought, oh no, okay, I won't drink. I was a bit worried of what would happen if I did. And I had a really great night without alcohol. I thought you have to have alcohol if you're going to a party or anything like that. Only a couple of glasses of wine, but I didn't have anything. And by the end of the weekend, I realized that my cold had gone. So I thought, this really works. This is it. Um, so I just got the bug. I just started to heal everybody. I had Reiki 2, and then I developed into the Reiki Master. And I remember one man, and he was sitting sort of just in his chair, and he was in the dark, and he was like this. And his wife had asked me to come over to give him some Reiki. We didn't know if it would do anything. I said, I can't promise you anything. But I said to her, if I can I'll have a go, and it will just make him relaxed, if anything, nothing else.
Sure.
And I put my hands on his head, and there was an electrical charge. And he sort of turned around, he hadn't been speaking, and he said, I felt that. And he jolted, and it was just like his soul had returned to his body, and he was driving within a week.
That is
So,
awesome.
mm. so
Amazing.
those are the kind of stories that happen with Reiki.
Definitely. So, as far as your own personal journey, your own personal
Mhm.
healing journey, how did that come about for you?
Do you mean with healing itself in myself? With
Yes,
the
yes,
Okay,
your own personal healing journey. Yeah.
right. I was, I have been unwell. I had ME in my 20s, which interfered with my studies at the time. But I tried everything to give myself healing, and I did eventually heal from it. It took me quite a few months. And then I had it again. So that took another few months. But I did everything I could internally to heal. My healing journey could be meditation, it can be eating well, um, very, very green at the time. It also it's looking within at the deep traumas. And I totally believe that shock, trauma, any abuse or anything you experience in this life and perhaps other lives has come to light to heal myself at this moment. However, I have had a chronic disease come up, which is type 1 diabetes, and that came out of nowhere. And I do believe that I am on a healing journey with that. Um, there is something there that I need to shift, and I am shifting. I sort of go into every day, I will do a meditation every day. I will look into what's going on with myself and where it's coming from, what's causing this. There will
Yes.
be a root cause.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah. So
definitely.
I've been on that healing journey in order to reach and heal and dissolve that root cause. Not always
Great.
easy.
Good. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. And you're currently treating others. Is this in person? Is this distant?
I do have one-to-one clients. I used to have a lot that sort of calmed down. I've gone back to it, and people come to me. We look at deep emotional root causes, shocks, like I said, traumas. I offer a sacred space and also non-judgmental, somewhere it can be online as well. I do offer that because sometimes people can't always travel.
Sure.
Um, and I can do it as personally or in a group.
Yes.
And we look at anything that people feel that they can, you know, expose in a safe space and compassionate space.
Okay.
So it can become emotional. So some people prefer to do that on their own
Sure. Sure.
with myself.
Who do you usually work with or feel most aligned helping? Is there a particular uh, subject? You know, some people prefer working with, I'm just going to throw something out there, people with low self-esteem. Is there a particular type of person that you feel aligned to work with?
I think it's anyone with trauma or emotional issues, anybody who finds that sometimes it's a minefield in the healing network and in that world. I've had a lot of people who have not been very compassionate, who've been quite judgmental. I prefer people with who who come to me with sensitivity, emotional issues, perhaps trauma, and any shocks or anything that they can't cope with in life. They can come to me, or anything they've been through. I tend to attract those kind of clients. um, and we do it on a deep personal and emotional level. So I think it's more shock and trauma that I
Okay,
align with.
great, great. What is your vision for how Reiki can support the collective healing of the world?
Wow, that's a question. Um, I think the world at the moment is very tumultuous.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of blame. I see the focus on Israel and Gaza, and there are so many more places around the world that are suffering. That is a particular sort of place where people focus upon and have an opinion upon. Um, I just think collectively we need to be sort of pulling back from what we see in this world because I think, as we know, it is an illusion. And we
Yes.
can step into a healing space, the matrix, if you want to call it that,
Hmm.
is whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And we can create peace, we can create it in our world. Really, we only see our own reality. Even collectively, we are seeing one person, we're seeing our own version of events. And it's just, oh, my
Oh,
angel just fell down there.
yeah.
I think it's just coming together in that collective space. It's like some people, like I suppose Christians would pray together,
Hmm.
Jews, Muslims, they might pray in their own way, any religion, but we have to cross religion. We have to be non-denominational, come together, pray for peace, meditate for peace, aim to see it in your world. I have been doing some prayers and my own meditation and my own wanting to see peace in my reality, my version of events. And they are talking about a ceasefire in Gaza and Israel. Um, and I would like to see that in various places around the world. That's what we want to see,
Beautiful.
isn't it?
Beautiful. I love that. Very good. Very good outlook. I love it. So, anything else you want people to know about you? How can people get in contact with you? If they want to connect with you, they want to schedule with you for Reiki, whether that's in person or distant, how do people get in contact with you?
Well, I can be found on Facebook or Instagram under Denise Kingsley Jones.
Great.
However, I'm also developing my website, which is just me. It used to be more of a company, but I'm doing it just as myself. And I can be found there at www.dkjoneszone.com.
Great. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time today, Denise. It's been lovely connecting with you. Beautiful, beautiful person inside and out. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time.
And it was lovely to meet you and
Oh,
to talk.
great.
And maybe another
Yes,
time on my meditations, my cold and my throat won't be so blocked. But no, I think that Reiki is there, and it gives you some kind of joy. And it's a beautiful thing to connect to.
definitely. I totally agree on that. 1000%. Thank you again, Denise, for your time. I
Okay.
appreciate you.
Lovely to meet you.